What's up, everyone? I'm Ruthina Porterfield, and this is Liberated Conversations with Ruthina. It's another Seeds of Devotion episode, which I am so excited about, you guys. It is those conversations that are specifically meant to sow seeds that are going to encourage and inspire spiritual growth. And this particular conversation, we're going to be talking about a few different virtues like love and trust and wisdom. We're going to be talking about those and how, if we discipline ourselves and incorporate them into our everyday lives and practice them regularly, this is how we're going to begin to see spiritual and physical results. And hopefully we're going to get some practical ways through that. We learned a lot, quite a bit from this devotion because it covered several things. So I'm looking forward to hearing what my devotion partner, Erin Lactancy, has to say. And I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts too. Tell a friend we are live and join the conversation. What's up, Erin? How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. It's good to be here.
It is so good to be jumping into this devotion. It was supposed to be about, oh, did I lose her? So, yes, I did lose her. So, this particular devotion, you guys, was actually called Discipline and Spiritual Growth. Kind of odd, because I found that with this devotion, it said we thought it was going to be more so about discipline, and at least I thought it was going to be about discipline itself, the actual virtue of discipline. But I found it to be kind of about several different things across the board. And I'm going to ask Erin what she thought when she went into the devotion. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it was going to be more like a spiritual discipline, sort of like reading, fasting, prayer. And so Ruthina and I had discussed that kind of beforehand about fruits of the spirit and also spiritual disciplines kind of in tandem. And so I found the devotional and I was like, oh, this looks cool. Looks like it kind of touches on what we talked about. I like that it's a meditation. And then it was different. It was like, listen to this, be present with God, meditate on these things. And it was actually really refreshing. It was different than I expected.
It was definitely different than I expected as well. It was, first of all, the listening kind of meditation was short.
Yes.
They were much shorter than other meditations that I have listened to through the Bible app.
Okay.
And so I actually appreciated that they were only about 2 minutes.
I did too. I'll be honest. I was like, I can do that and I can stay focused and my mind won't wander somewhere else.
Right. So I actually appreciated that. Mm-hmm. And so that threw me. And also it was only one verse for each day, which quite a few that we've done have been like 5 and 6 verses.
Yeah, this was refreshing for that reason also, because it was simple. It was like my mind was on the verse and then I could take it with me and just carry it through the day. And I wasn't lost in my thoughts trying to sort through, okay, which piece do I want to? It was like, no, there's one nugget and it's going in here.
Right. Jumping right in, day 1, Nahum 1:7. That's actually a verse that I came across when I was younger. And I was familiar with it. It was one that I speak not every single day, but it's one that it is a go-to for me. So it was blessed. I want to make sure that I actually say the right verse. First of all, it was Nahum 1:7 for day 1.
Yeah.
And the verse itself was, and I'm going to read the English Standard Version, but the verse is, "The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knows those who take refuge in him." I'm used to a version that says he knows those who trust in him. But I was definitely pretty familiar with that. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, so I've been reading the NIV usually in the app, and so mine just says the Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in Him. So very similar.
Mhm.
It was interesting because I got this earlier in the week before my week started to get really hectic, and so
Mhm.
it was a preparation verse for my week. A lot of times God will give me a heads up, and I'm really thankful when something kind of challenging is coming. But this time it was the opposite. It was just kind of smooth sailing earlier in the week, and then this verse came when I should have known. Why didn't I know, you guys? No,
That's
things got
funny.
hectic, but in a good way. Auditions, helping friends, prepping my seed business, and it was many blessings, but it was also hectic. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty familiar with it. And when I came across it, it came across at a time where I was kind of learning about trusting God, which is,
Mhm.
can we be real? It's not easy all the time. I'm sorry, it just is not. And so you said that the meditation, it was weird because the meditation would say a whole slew of things in about 2 minutes, and it would mention the verse, but it may not have necessarily been exactly all about the verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so my comment was just saying that I thought that God was specifically saying, I know that I said, I know that to trust him. And because I know to trust him, I think the verse was kind of saying he will never betray that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Look, so basically it's like God saying, I know that you trust me and I will never betray the trust that you have in me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I value. It makes it a little easier for me to trust him.
Yeah. The faithfulness aspect sounds like what you really locked into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is a kind of a foundational, kind of a pillar of the relationship that I have with him. His faithfulness is huge. That's a huge thing for our relationship.
I yeah, I'm not surprised because it really sounds like right in line with what you described in your relationship with God.
Oh yeah.
The deep emotional connection and the faithfulness and the loyalty and the uh, yeah, that
Yeah,
he's
I value that. I value that. And it's also one of the things that I transfer to my relationships with people in life, which is weird because we'll probably talk about that in day 5 when we talk about loving others. But and I don't want to make it seem like I have these high expectations. I have these godly expectations of the human beings in my life because I don't. I
yeah,
realize that people aren't perfect,
yeah.
but we are created in his image. So I'm going to be honest. I am going to expect a certain level of loyalty
Mm-hmm.
from the people who say that they love me.
Ooh, Ruthina, you said to let the Lord lead today. Yeah, I have something to share.
Go for it.
Okay, so loyalty is something that's been lacking in a lot of my romantic relationships. So in the past, so with God, I have no problem knowing that He's loyal. For whatever reason, that didn't come difficult for me
Mm,
as like very difficult. But then, if I'm in a dating relationship, and I've been betrayed by friends also, and I have a lot of
right.
loyal friends, but the
Yeah.
betrayals, those stand out to me as um, loyalty is something that I look for in friendships and in a dating relationship also. And so you're right. It's like we want to reflect God's character and we expect that from other people, but not everyone has that same expectation on themselves, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. And they don't do that for whatever reason because of the broken things or trauma they've been through. So kind of a deep cut. But yeah, it's like yeah, loyalty is hard to find. I'll leave it at that. I think you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, it's weird. Loyalty is hard to find. And this is going to sound kind of strange. I don't necessarily look, I expect it, but I don't look for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is making sense.
Yeah.
I expect it, but I don't look for it. And I recognize it when it's not there.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to give a comparison. So because last month was all about food on Liberated Conversations with Ruthina. And so when you eat something, you're not necessarily, especially something that you love. Here we go. Thank you, God. When you eat something that you love to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily look for it to taste good. You expect it to taste good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And when some ingredient is missing that makes it not good, you recognize it.
Oh, yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, because I'm thinking of the same analogy for myself of like, so in that analogy, I'm used to pizza. Let's say loyalty is pizza. I'm used to pizza tasting kind of like, mid-level. And then when I have pizza that tastes amazing, I'm like, is this even pizza? What is this? I've never had this before, because I'm expecting to not have the loyalty, because that's been my past experience and context. So I want to switch to your mindset, which is expect the loyalty, expect it to taste like this. And when it's not there, you notice. And I think my mind is shifting to that. Friends, dating, whatever. Yeah.
You notice and you make the adjustment.
Yeah. What do you mean by the adjustment? I'm curious.
So if you eat something and you notice that it doesn't taste right, you split it, especially if you cooked it, because when you're talking about relationships, you're the one that decides that this is going to be a relationship, right? So if we're going to use this analogy, you cooked it. Okay. You cooked the food. You notice that something is missing. Yeah. So the next time that you cook it, you're going to either add or take away whatever it is that you recognize is not there. Totally. In a relationship, female, male, friendship, whatever, the next time you recognize that in that last relationship, this was lacking, that ended it. Okay, so the next time you go to another relationship in that same vein, okay, now we're going to specifically look for that, right?
Yes.
And when it's not there, you either bring it up to the person or you move on.
Yes. Yep.
Makes sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that is huge. And again, you can't have the same, you're not going to have the expectations or whatever of God on the person, but you do have reasonable expectations.
Yeah.
And I know, we have a comment. Oh, she said no conviction. I'm guessing what she's talking about. Hi, Noelle. I'm guessing what she's talking about is what it is that is pushing this person not to provide that particular virtue or that particular quality in the friendship, in the relationship.
I would agree. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what Noelle's talking about. Yeah, they don't have there's not an impetus in them. She's saying, that it's not an impetus to want to do that sort of right thing of being loyal, and because it wasn't modeled for them, or they don't value that quality. And sometimes you can't teach someone to value things. Sometimes you can bring it up and they will adjust. And that just brings so many thoughts to mind, about like when people bring things to me, do I adjust, and so on and so forth, so many things. It's like, even in friendships, if someone says something to me, it kind of hurts when someone's direct, but am I glad they brought it forward if it's something that I do need to work on? Yeah, because there's a scripture, right, that says you can trust, wounds from your friend, but not kisses from your enemy. So if a friend is trying to bring something forward, it's like, okay, I need to look at that. So being open.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. We're going to move on to day 2.
All right, let's go.
I love the way God is working. I'm like all about it. I'm all about it. Okay. So day 2's verse was Colossians Colossians 1:9-10.
Yep.
And I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says, "From the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will and all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God." You have the NIV version, right?
I do. You want me to read that one?
Yeah.
Okay. "For this reason, since the day we heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you. We continually ask God to fill you with the knowledge of his will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord and please him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God."
Okay. I gotta speak because something just immediately popped in my mind. First of all, you guys, this second day was supposed to be about wisdom. Let me tell you what popped in my head when I read this scripture. So I have a friend who is growing in her relationship. She is not a young Christian by any means. She definitely is, on a certain level. She's not on baby's milk, let's put it that way. But there are a lot of things that she is still learning about as a result of not getting certain, especially being raised in a certain denomination.
Okay.
She was not educated or told about a lot of things. So my prayer for her has been, okay, God, continue to open her mind to all of the facets of who you are. Because as it's so funny, because this isn't the first time in the Bible where Paul prays for his friends to know God in different ways.
Yeah.
Which should be our prayer for our friends.
Ooh, yeah. That's
okay,
good.
God, I hear you. Like,
Yeah.
you know how people always say, oh, pray for me, or pray for me. Or when you ask, what should I pray for you? What should I pray for you? And a lot of times our prayers are for things. I need this, or I need that, and this part of my life, and this part of this. And one of the main things that I've learned in the last few years about God is his main thing about Matthew 6. Don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to wear. I know that you have need of these things. I'm going to take care of these things. Seek me first. Seek me first. And if you go through the word of God, the prayers are not all about, I need this, I need that, I need this house, and I need this, and I need that. But the prayers are always, okay, God, open my eyes to who you are. Okay, God, help me to understand you better. Help me to get to know more about you. And here's the thing, Erin, that sounds deep. It just sounds deep.
Yeah.
And it's a hard pill to swallow. But when you think about it in the respect of when you're in a relationship with someone, we just got through talking about loyalty and expectations and stuff like that. But when you're in a relationship with someone, one of the number one things is getting to know that person. So if you're going to be in a relationship with God, shouldn't you get to know him first?
So really,
wouldn't you get to know anybody before you start asking them for stuff?
That's such a good point. Yes.
I'm just saying.
Definitely. Yeah, that's such a good point, Ruthie.
So yeah. But this particular day was about, I'm gonna let you go because I can.
Oh, yeah, no, I love it because no, I actually, so we had our podcast about I feel like I can share openly. So we had our podcast about being single and struggling with that. And so recently I started dating a really cool guy. And so like, it's just kind of starting out. And I think when you were talking, I just thought, oh, how funny is that? What if the second date, we had, I said, what can you do for me? What can you bring me next time I see you? That would be so weird. So, I mean, we're spending a lot of time getting to know each other. It's like, who are you?
Like, Wouldn't that be something? Like you get into the relationship, it's like, okay, yes, so you're paying for this dinner. You're gonna pay for the next one? What about the next one? Oh, okay. Are you gonna pay the bill for the oh, okay. I'm just checking. Like, are you gonna like this is what we do with God.
Mhm.
Like, this is what we do with God. When
Yeah.
you and you know what? Even if it's not that, let's look at your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're 8, 9 years old,
Mhm.
are you saying to your parents, okay, so are you gonna pay the light bill?
Mhm.
Okay, are you gonna pay the water bill? Are you gonna pay the mortgage? Are you gonna pay the car note? Because I'm just saying, like, I just like you don't do that. I don't know.
Just with parents, it's like an expectation that they are taking care of you. And so there's a parallel there with God, right? Of like, you know, He
Right.
has the big picture in mind, and there's a lot that we don't know, like even as children, that parents or caregivers or whoever's taking care of you takes
Right.
care of behind the scenes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as you get older, you want to get to know more about your parents because you know as you get to know more about them, you get to know more about you.
Yeah.
Same thing with God.
Mhm.
As your relationship grows, you want to get to know more about him because
Mhm.
as you get to know more about him, you get to know more about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes
And I
sense?
feel like God is so patient with me. He reveals things, and it's very humbling. With anyone else, I would be mortified. I would be like, "Oh, that's what you saw?"
Girl, there are so many times where I'm like, God, at this point, I'm kind of glad I'm single because I don't think I can put up with me. Like, I can't.
Oh, Rosina, you're
Like,
so
I can't. I
well.
can't.
You know, I feel like something I'm learning in my friendships and in my dating relationship is that it's very humbling to come forward and say, at the end of the year, I did this with my friends. I said, "Is there anything that I've done that needs to be cleared out, like that I need to apologize for or
Mm.
get made right?" You know, a couple of them had some stuff, and so that was like, okay, and but it's also really cool to receive that forgiveness too when they say, "You
Yeah.
know what? I forgive you. We're going to move forward." And that's I want to avoid those conversations so bad because I hate being wrong. I hate doing something wrong. I should,
Yeah.
and
It's
there's a lot of shame, and God's not shaming us.
not at all. Not at all. He is not like he's that loving father saying, okay, you made that mistake. It's
Uh-huh.
okay. I
Hmm.
got you and I still love you. There is nothing. Please hear me. Please hear me. There is absolutely nothing that you can do to make God stop loving you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If that's the only seed you get in
Yes.
this episode, please hear me on that one. There's nothing that you can possibly do on this planet to make him stop loving you.
Yeah.
Regarding seeds, you guys,
Yeah.
I'm not good at these transitions,
You
but
just did it. That
regarding
was awesome.
you guys, this is our Seeds of Devotion. Remember, we're trying to plant seeds that's going to inspire and motivate you to grow spiritually. And that is why the sponsor of all of our Seeds of Devotion episodes is Maybell and Company Seeds and Such. It is a seed company that Erin is a part of.
Yeah.
Please tell us more about it.
Yeah. We are a flower seed and garden company. So we have a couple things we do. One is our YouTube channel. We do garden tips and tricks. It's called At Home with Pam, same as the Instagram handle where you can find all of her things. The company itself is called Maybell and Company Seeds and Such. The website is almost up. Our products right now are lavender sachets, Cosmo flower seeds, and then note cards with pictures from our
Ooh.
organic pesticide-free garden. We just got our logo solidified. We're printing those note cards this week. So in your mind, when you think Maybell and Company Seeds and Such, think garden related things and flower seeds and garden tips. So come on over to our YouTube channel, you guys. Come to our Instagram, At Home with Pam L, and our website will be up very soon. But we're so excited, and we're so excited to be part of Ruthina's podcast. So thank you.
Okay, I'm super excited about those note cards.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
super excited about those note cards.
Yeah.
So that's a definite. I mean, the whole reason that I wanted a specific, I was so happy to get you guys to sponsor this particular episode because it just goes right in line. There
Perfect.
are so many parallels
Mhm.
with God constantly talks about the whole process and the idea of sowing and reaping
Mhm.
and sowing seeds constantly throughout his word. And
Mhm.
so having a gardening seed company to sponsor this specific episode is a huge, huge deal for me. And I'm
Yay.
so happy about.
Me too.
So yeah. So with the third day, we in this particular devotion, the verse was 1 Timothy 6:11.
Mhm.
Right. And it very simple, but as for you, O man of God, flee these things, pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness.
Mhm.
What's the list in the NIV version?
Yeah, just very similar. But you, man of God, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness.
So I think the highlight question for this day was, what are you pursuing?
Hmm.
What are you running towards?
That's,
What are you running after?
yeah, for mine. And by the way, shout out to everyone that joined us on the devotion. It was really great to see other people's comments and notes,
Yeah.
and I'm just looking at them again right now. So, um, yeah, mine was run from temptation and to God.
I love it. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Just keep your eye out and see with your spiritual eyes those things, because you got to remember that you're a spirit first, right? You're spirit first, living in a body, having a physical experience, right?
Yes.
And so everything initially comes from some type of spiritual foundation. So you got to look at things from that perspective. And
Hmm.
when you recognize those good things, you know that you're good. And when you recognize those bad things, pew, hit the road, hit the road.
Yeah.
With day 4, it was very similar. It was Hebrews, actually, this was another verse. This was another verse that I lean on so much.
Mhm.
It's Hebrews 10:36, saying that you have need of the endurance, so that when you have done the will of God, you may receive what is promised.
Mhm.
I had to get the order right.
Mm.
Do the will of God, and then you receive the promise.
Hmm.
What
Yeah. So
what was yeah.
the NIV says you need to persevere. So
Oh,
that's just a one word change, but it's a very similar idea. Yeah, when you've done the will of God. And then I'm trying to think what did we all say in the comments here? Oh, this was a good one, Ruthina.
yeah. When well, first of all, I want to highlight one of the people
Yeah.
who joined us for the devotion.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to read the comment because the comment was simply, it might be terrifying,
Mm-hmm.
it might not be pretty, but this race will be worth it. And you also don't have to do it alone. I'm here with you.
So
When I say that was a word, I
yeah,
was like, oh my gosh, that was a huge one for me.
I really appreciated that as well.
Just,
Yeah.
and then when you said let go of dysfunctional relationship patterns,
Yeah, I went there.
I was like, okay, where are we? But we do need to be healed of these crazy relationships,
Mhm.
because this stuff leaves a lingering effect.
It does. Yeah. I'm seeing it in real time right now. The rubber is
Yeah.
meeting the road, so to speak. So I can do all the healing I want in therapy, talk to my friends, pray with God. But the next time I'm in a similar friendship or dating relationship and that same thing comes up, my muscle memory, so to speak, and my soul and my body is responding like, oh no, it's this thing. When really maybe it's a good blessing. I can't even receive it because I'm so thinking it's this other thing. And literally, I'm asking God to rewire my brain, literally. And so when I saw this about dysfunctional relation, you know, a friend of mine, she's a Christian woman, she's an MFT. She posted on her Facebook group, when you remove those type of patterns out of your mind, or you work on those, you have to replace them with the healthy version of it, which is what God kind of talks about, I believe. I can't think of the scripture offhand, but you know, when we ask him to remove things that like malice and envy and greed out of our hearts, you know, we pray that the Spirit would come in and fill it with the fruits of the Spirit and all the good things. So that kind of idea of there's space that's being taken up and then it's being left, and then what's going to come in and fill it. So I just want to be ready to receive the good things. I want my space to be ready inside of me.
Yeah, you said something that's very practical that I want to repeat. It's this idea of when you're talking about praying, okay, God remove this, God remove that, God remove this. I think we also have to remember to pray, okay, God fill it with this, and God fill it with that. And if you don't know what you need it to be filled with, then pray, God fill this with whatever fruit is necessary. You fill it with whatever you think I need, because you know what I need better than I do.
Yeah.
I think it's important to pray specifically.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, we all need to be constantly filled with love. You know, we talk about love, and this is the 5th day. We talk about love, and I think we forget that God is love. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we say it very loosely.
Yeah.
And we say it like, but God is love.
Yeah.
Like, like it's not something that he does. It just is who he is. Mm-hmm. And so when we say God fill us with love, it's almost like saying, if not literally saying, God fill us with yourself. Mm-hmm. So if there's any question about what you need to be filled with, that's the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Right. That 5th day, the verse was actually 1 John 4:21, mm-hmm. that said that the commandment that we have from him is whoever loves God must also love his brother. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all I could say when I read that was love is a spiritual love is a spiritual discipline.
Yes.
Because it's not easy unless you have him. And even when you have him, it's not always easy then. What was your comment?
Yeah, so in the meditation, it had a different take on it. So the woman that was reading it, she was saying that sometimes it's easy for us to love other people, but not to love God. And I understood what she was saying. I understand the point of it. But for me, that was very backwards of how my brain works. If I'm not loving God, I have no capacity and no ability to love other people. So I think that's, she's making a comment about idolatry, and that makes sense. But for me, and I'm sure that I've done that before, or I do, but I don't think I'm able, whatever it is that I'm giving to people, it's not real love. It's not selfless and caring for their needs first necessarily, if it's that I'm not keeping God in that equation. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. When I read your comment, the first thought that bear with us just a moment.
I think
Aaron, that was me.
Oh, that's okay. Me. No worries. Yeah.
That was me. So thank you guys for hanging in there. That was definitely me. That was me. All right. And we're back.
We're back. I got you.
So when I read your comment, one of the first things that popped into my head was a song by one of my favorites of all time, Kirk Franklin.
Yeah.
And he, on his last album, he had a song called, I can't remember the name of it, Love Theory. Okay. And the hook of the song said, I don't want to love I don't want to love nobody but you.
Oh.
And that line kind of ticked a lot of his audience off because they didn't grasp it, right? They didn't understand it. And I completely understood it, because I understand that if you love God first, above all else, you will naturally love people.
I agree.
Yeah. Right? And you will look for, and I always tell people that I don't care who they are, from the worst person on the planet to the best person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
God, the breath of God is in that person.
Yeah.
The breath of, which means that his spirit is in there somewhere. So if you can love that, if that's all that you can love, then start there. Start there.
That's really powerful, Ruthina.
Right? Yeah. And so, like, and this is, and I'm not making this up, read Genesis. Mm-hmm. God breathed the breath of life into every single human being.
Right.
When you breathe in and breathe out, that is a manifestation of his spirit. Mm-hmm. And so if you start with the fact that because the person is breathing, that God is there. So if that's all you can love, mm-hmm. then let that be the foundation of where your love begins.
Yeah, I'm writing that down right now. If they are breathing, God is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comment, and I'm so sorry, Evan, the comments. His love transcends and penetrates.
Wow.
God's love transcends any and everything, and it penetrates the most difficult of people and the most difficult of situations. And oh my God, can you imagine if everyone began to love just the spirit of God that resides in someone? Mm-hmm. If everyone loved that way, what the world would look like.
Yeah.
What actions would be, what our decisions, how our decisions in life would change.
Yeah. And Jesus was so, when Jesus would talk about loving others too, and then I in my mind, I'm connecting with this other thought from a book I'm reading right now. It's like talking about how Jesus was so revolutionary because his way of wanting to improve the world was not through corrective, like violence, but through transcending and like what Noelle was just mentioning of like love and forgiveness and these revolutionary ideas of how to make the world a better place.
Right.
And that just speaks to who God is. Like you said, God is love. Who else would want to change the world that way? That doesn't.
I know, right? Isn't that so him? I'm going to change it by using myself. How about that? Like, that's how I'm going to change the world. Like, compassion. Yeah. That's a huge deal.
Compassion. I think we saw a lot of that in 2020, right? Of people not having compassion or empathy for someone that thinks differently than they do or looks differently than they do, if I can just be real.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the end. That's the end. Because and I'm gonna tell you why I want to end it there, because at the end of the day, it's about love, and it's about, when you say it's about him, it's about love. Like it's almost like you can interchange the words.
Yeah.
The God, it's about God, it's about love.
Yeah.
Like you can almost interchange them. Exactly. And so when you speak with love as a noun, right? When you speak with love as a noun, it's basically another word for him.
Yeah.
But we have to pray and ask God to make sure we understand the meaning of it. Right? We gotta let this comment. One of my favorite scriptures in the Word says, when Jesus saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion. Yes. Yes. Gosh, I wish I could remember what miracle that was. What
it wasn't the loaves and the fishes, was it?
The only reason I don't think it was the loaves and the fishes is because I remember him telling the disciples, well, y'all feed them.
Right.
So I don't know if it was that one.
Okay.
I feel like it was something else. But you know what? He fed masses quite often. So
True.
let me see. You reminded me of, oh,
Oh, I love Fred Hammond too.
Fred Hammond is cool. Now I want to, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to look for that particular miracle because I want to know what that is.
I Googled it and it came up, but then it's not giving me the reference. Oh, Matthew 9:36. I found it.
Okay. That's where it is.
Thanks
So,
much.
so yeah, we definitely have to do that. You guys, we only have one more devotion left for the season. So, you know what? And Noelle is always watching. And you guys, those who will watch this later, how about this? I'm going to give you 7 days. 7 days. You have 7 days. It's in 3 gospels. Okay, that was one.
Oh, awesome.
You have 7 days. Give us a topic.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Give us a topic that you want to dive into.
Yeah.
And you have 7 days from this recording because I'm going to keep this up on my personal page.
Okay.
This recording is actually on my personal page. And you could probably pull it from my personal page and put it on yours, Erin.
Okay.
It's on my Liberated Conversation. Put in the chat, in the comments, and Erin said, "Thanks, Noelle." Put what you want us to look into in the comments, and we'll probably put this on IG, kind of throw it out there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the last devotion of the season in April.
Okay.
And we'll put it out there. What do you think?
I think that sounds great. I love that idea a lot.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So I can't wait to hear the topics that you guys come up with. And we'll probably just pick the one that gets the most.
Okay.
And just go from there, unless God says different. But until then, thank you, Erin.
Thank you. It's been really fun. This was great today. Look at everything that came up. We had no idea.
I know, right? I'm all about just letting God do what he does. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Noelle, thank you so much. It's been an avid supporter. Noelle says, make sure you invite me to the devotional. I thought I did invite you, but don't forget, you can always, Noelle, this is what I want you to do. DM me your email. And I will email you the devotion every time it's selected. And that goes for everyone. Just, and you can also go to my website as well. And just put your email in and I'll get it to you right then and there as well. Or DM me on Instagram or whatever. Erin is open to that as well.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So you can DM the email address, and I send out emails with the devotion, kind of why it was selected and what we're going to get into.
Yeah, I would love to connect with you guys and have more conversations about this and support each other.
Yeah.
Even if we're at a distance on social media.
I know. I love it. All right. So until then, you guys, thank you, Erin. I'm going to take you off for just a moment. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Those who are watching later, we appreciate it. And in the meantime, stay safe out there. I think we're coming to an end. Pray for each other. And you know what? I want you to know that I pray for my listeners. I'm praying for you. And I'm praying that this continues to bless you. And we have some exciting news and exciting stuff coming that I cannot wait to tell you about. But in the meantime, peace, stay cool, and God bless.